At the family Christmas party, everything stopped when my parents looked at my 8-year-old daughter like she was trash. My mum crossed her arms, smirked, and said loud enough for the whole room, "Only good kids get presents. Your bastard child can get out." My daughter didn't argue. She didn't even look up. She just stood there with her little red dress, holding the handmade card she spent all week on. And the tears started falling one by one. Everyone watched. No one defended her, not even the people who used to say they loved her like family. I felt something inside me go quiet, not angry, just done. So I wiped her tears, held her hand, and said calmly, "Understood." My parents smirked, thinking they finally put me in my place. 15 minutes later, the doorbell rang. A delivery man stood there with 3 giant boxes and a clipboard. "Hi," he said, confused. "Can you confirm the cancellation of your parents' Christmas order? It says here you revoked payment, and the entire account is frozen." Behind me, I heard my dad choke on his drink. My mum went pale, and that was only the beginning. I knew something was off the moment I walked into my parents' house. Christmas should have felt warm, loud, familiar. But instead the room went silent like everyone had rehearsed it. My daughter squeezed my hand tighter, and I squeezed back, hoping she didn't feel the shift the way I did. We walked toward the living room, past the big Christmas tree covered in gold ribbons. My daughter stopped for a moment to stare at the presents underneath, the ones she helped wrap last week. Writing little labels in her crooked handwriting. She couldn't wait to give her grandparents the card she made them. I should have known she was setting herself up to be hurt. My parents were standing by the dining table, arms crossed, jaws tight. My mum's eyes landed on my daughter first, then on me, and her whole face hardened. Before I could even say "Merry Christmas," she said it, cold, sharp, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Only good kids get presents here, Lauren. Your bastard child can get out." For a second, it felt like the whole world stopped. My daughter didn't even lift her head. She just stared down at her little card, the one with glitter and stars and "Merry Christmas, Grandma and Grandpa" written in red marker, and a single tear rolled down her cheek, then another and another. And nobody, not one person in that room, stepped forward to comfort her. I felt something in me shut off, not break, just switch off. The part of me that still wanted their approval, the part that still hoped they'd treat my daughter differently. I knelt beside her and wiped her tears gently. "You didn't do anything wrong," I whispered. She nodded, but she wouldn't look at me. Her little hands shook as she held that card. I stood up slowly, looked at my parents, the same people who raised me. And for the first time in my life, I saw them exactly as they were, cruel, small, and utterly unworthy of the love we kept trying to give them. So I said only 2 words, "Understood." I didn't yell, I didn't argue, I didn't defend my child to people who didn't deserve her. I just took her hand, turned around, and walked out of the house with my head high. My parents thought they finally put me in my place. They thought they embarrassed me, but they had no idea what I had quietly done 2 hours before arriving. And in 15 minutes, the entire family was about to find out. Because when the doorbell rang and the delivery man asked, "Can you confirm the cancellation?" every single one of them went pale. And that was only the beginning. As I walked out into the cold, the air hit my face like a reminder that freedom sometimes feels like winter before it feels like spring. My daughter shivered beside me, and I wrapped my coat around her shoulders. "Mommy, did I do something bad?" Her voice was so small it almost broke me. I stopped on the porch, crouched in front of her again, and held her cheeks gently. "No, baby. They're the ones who don't know how to love right, not you." She nodded, but I could still see the confusion swimming in her eyes. That's what hurt me the most. Not the insult, not the humiliation, but how quick she was to blame herself. How conditioned she already was to think she deserved less. She's only 8. She should have been thinking about candy canes and Christmas songs, not whether her grandparents thought she belonged. As we stepped off the porch, I heard laughter behind us, the kind that wasn't funny, the kind that meant they believed they'd won something tonight. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. Instead, I tightened my grip on my daughter's hand and walked toward my car. Each step felt like shedding a weight I'd carried for too many years, the weight of trying to earn love from people who only understood control. The porch light behind us flickered, and I swear it looked like the house itself was spitting us out. Good. Let it. Before I opened the car door, I glanced back just once. Through the window, I saw my brother taking pictures of the gifts under the tree, my sister fixing her hair, my mother waving her hand as if dismissing the entire moment. It was almost funny. They truly believed the night was going to continue as if nothing happened. They didn't know about the call I made earlier. They didn't know about the account. They didn't know what I quietly froze without saying a word. They thought walking out meant they had the upper hand, but in 15 minutes, the entire house would flip into panic. My daughter sniffled, pulling me back to the moment. "Mommy, who is the delivery man?" I smiled softly. "You'll see, sweetheart, but nothing bad will happen to us, I promise." She climbed into the car, finally letting the tension leave her shoulders. I could tell she was trying to trust me, even though the hurt was still fresh. As I buckled her seatbelt, I looked at her, really looked, and felt something inside me I hadn't allowed myself to feel in years. Strength, clarity, and a fire I didn't bother hiding anymore. They thought they humiliated me tonight. But in just a few minutes, when that knock echoed through their perfect little Christmas party, they'd understand exactly what kind of mistake they made. Not a small one, not a dramatic one, a life-changing one. And they wouldn't be able to pretend it away. Not this time. I drove us home in silence, not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I needed a moment to let the anger settle into something sharper, cleaner, usable. My daughter fell asleep in the passenger seat, her little hand still clutching that folded Christmas card. I placed my coat over her and brushed her hair back gently. They really looked at her, an innocent child, and decided she didn't deserve love. I wasn't going to let that pass. When we reached home, I carried her inside, tucked her into bed, and sat at the dining table staring at my phone. The clock read 8:31 p.m. I knew the knock on my parents' door would come at 8:45, right on schedule. Earlier that morning, before the party, I had called the company that handled all of my family's annual Christmas orders. The expensive catered dinners, the mountains of gifts, the custom decorations. My parents always bragged about tradition, but it was me who paid for most of it after I got my job. They always said, "Just help us until we get back on our feet." They never did. Last year I spent $4,700 covering their Christmas expenses. They never even said thank you. So this year I did something different. I quietly linked all those standing payments to a separate account, my account, after my father insisted it was easier for me to manage things. Easier for me, not them. And this morning, after years of letting them drain me dry, I hit one button, cancel all payments. That included the food, the gifts, the decorations, and something even bigger. A luxury furniture order my mother placed 3 weeks ago without telling me. They didn't know the cancellation was coming, but I did. And as the clock hit 8:45, I refreshed my phone until I saw the notification. Attempted delivery, confirmation required on site. Perfect. I leaned back in my chair and whispered to myself, let the show begin. Meanwhile, at my parents' house, I knew exactly what was happening. Everyone would still be laughing, drinking, ignoring the empty chairs where my daughter and I should have been. My mother would be bragging, my sister would be posing for pictures, my father would be pretending everything was normal. And then, knock, knock, knock. I knew that knock would echo through their perfect Christmas like a cracking glass. I imagined my mother wiping her hands and opening the door with her fake smile, expecting another guest or maybe a neighbor. Instead, she'd find a delivery man holding a clipboard, 3 large boxes behind him, and confusion all over his face as he asked, "Mom, can you confirm the cancellation of your Christmas payment account? It shows everything has been declined, and your balance is frozen." I pictured my father standing up, his face losing all colour, my sister dropping her drink, my brother whispering, "What do you mean frozen?" And then the panic, the embarrassment, the chaos. Because for the first time in years, the consequences landed on them instead of on me. I didn't do it out of anger. I did it because they needed to understand something they never bothered to learn. You don't get to treat my daughter like trash and still expect me to finance your holidays. Not anymore. I poured myself a glass of water, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time. Control. And as I sat there in the quiet, I knew this was only the beginning. "Mommy!" A sleepy voice came from the hallway. I turned to see my daughter rubbing her eyes. "Is everything okay?" she whispered. I smiled softly. "Everything is better than okay." Because tonight, the balance finally shifted. And I wasn't done yet. I carried my daughter back to bed and sat beside her until she drifted off again. Her breathing slowed, soft and steady, and I felt a calm settle over me. Not the kind that comes after peace, the kind that comes after a decision. A decision I should have made years ago. When I finally stepped out of her room, my phone buzzed. A call from my brother, then my sister, then my mother. I let every call ring out. No one cared about us when they shoved us out the door. Now suddenly they needed me. I walked into the living room and opened the curtains. Outside, snow was falling in thick, slow flakes. It made the world look quiet, clean, like everything was resetting itself. I sat on the couch and watched the missed calls stack up. 9 calls, 12 calls, then 18. They weren't calling because they missed me. They were calling because the delivery man didn't leave. I knew exactly what he was doing. He'd been told not to leave until someone confirmed the cancellation. And because everything was linked to my account and I had frozen it, the entire order was locked. That meant no catered dinner, no expensive gifts, no special champagne delivery, no new furniture arriving tomorrow, no holiday decorations refund, no backup payment method. Everything gone in an instant, by my choice. Then the texts started coming in. My sister, "Lauren, what did you do? The guy is saying the whole order is under your name?" My mother, "Fix this, now, you're embarrassing the entire family." My father, "Call me immediately." I didn't respond. Instead, I scrolled further down. Then I saw one from a number I didn't expect. My aunt. She never gets involved. She never chooses sides. But tonight she sent one short text. "Are you okay? I saw what happened." My chest tightened. Someone actually cared. I typed back, "My daughter and I are fine." She replied instantly, "Good, because they needed this." I stared at those words for a long moment. Maybe she was right. Maybe they did need this. A mirror held up to their cruelty. Then another message from my brother came through. This one was different, long, frantic, messy. "Lauren, please answer. Dad is yelling. Mum is crying. The delivery guy won't leave and people are staring. They're saying you cancelled Christmas. What's going on?" I almost laughed. I cancelled Christmas. No, they did that the moment they told my daughter she didn't belong. But I didn't reply. Not yet. I wasn't finished watching the cracks spread. Another call came in, this time from my father. I let it ring out, but I listened to the voicemail the moment it popped up. His voice was tight, low, and shaking. "Lauren, you need to fix this. We have guests here. You're making us look ridiculous. Call me back." There it was. Not remorse, not apology, not concern for his granddaughter. Embarrassment, reputation, image. Exactly the things they always valued more than actual people. I set my phone down and leaned back, listening to the cold quiet of my house. My daughter's soft breathing down the hall, the faint hum of the heater. For once my home felt safe, warm, mine. My phone buzzed again. Another message from my aunt. "Whatever you decide next, do it for you and your little girl. They've taken enough. I looked at the screen and realized something. For years, I thought I had no power. Tonight proved I always did. I just never used it. And now that I had, my family was learning exactly what it felt like when their cruelty came with a price, and I wasn't done making them face it. Not yet. By the time I walked back into the kitchen, my phone was still buzzing non-stop. 23 missed calls, 7 voicemails, a flood of texts, some angry, some desperate, none apologetic. I put the phone face down on the counter and made myself a cup of tea. Chamomile, calm, warm. A sharp contrast to the chaos unraveling in my parents' perfect Christmas party. But eventually, curiosity nudged me, and I picked up the phone again. The newest voicemail was from my sister, the same sister who smirked when my daughter cried. Her voice was shaky, frantic. "Lauren, what did you do? The delivery guy is telling everyone the payment plan was under your account and you cancelled it. Mum is freaking out and Dad is yelling at the staff. People are leaving. You need to fix this." Fix this, again. That was the story of my life with them. Anytime something went wrong, anytime they overspent, anytime they made choices they couldn't afford, I was expected to step in, to clean it up, to save the family image. But tonight, they created their own mess. I set the phone aside and went to check on my daughter. She was still sleeping, one arm around her stuffed reindeer, her breathing slow and peaceful. The sight of her like that, it grounded me, reminded me why I was done allowing anyone, even blood, to hurt her. When I returned to the living room, another call came in. This time, I answered. It was my father. The noise behind him was loud, guests murmuring, chairs scraping, someone crying. He stepped outside and the cold bit into his voice. "Lauren." Not gentle, not soft, more like an order. "Yes," I said. "What is happening here? Why is this delivery man saying you cancelled everything? The gifts, the dinner, the decorations, all of it?" I didn't raise my voice. I didn't explain myself. I simply said, "I told you, understood." There was silence on his end for a long moment. Then he snapped, "You embarrassed your mother. You ruined Christmas. Do you have any idea how this makes us look?" Ah, there it was. How it makes them look. Not a single word about how they made my daughter feel. Not a single ounce of regret for the cruelty they showed her. "Dad," I said quietly, "you told an 8-year-old she wasn't good enough to receive a gift. You threw us out. You made it clear we don't belong." "That's not the point," he barked. "It's exactly the point." He sucked in a breath, angry and cornered. "Lauren, enough of this attitude. Come back here. Fix what you broke." "I didn't break anything," I said. "I just stopped funding the fantasy." The silence after that was heavy. The kind of silence that happens when someone finally hears the truth they've been ignoring for years. Then he said something that actually made my chest tighten. "We need you." Not said with love, said with fear. Because suddenly, without my support, the foundation of their perfect little life was starting to crack. "Dad," I said, "my daughter needed you, and you failed her without hesitation." He didn't respond. "Good night," I finished, "and don't call again unless it's an apology." I hung up before he could speak. A long, deep breath left my body, and for the first time in years, I felt free. But the night wasn't over. 5 minutes later, there was a knock on my door. Not angry. Not frantic. A soft, gentle knock. When I opened it, my aunt stood there, the only person who had texted me out of concern, not frustration. She held a coat in her hands, smiling sadly. "I thought she might want this when she wakes up," she said. "It's cold tonight." I felt my throat tighten. Kindness hits different when you've been surviving cruelty. "Thank you," I whispered. She stepped inside, lowered her voice and said, "They needed this lesson, Lauren, but you needed this freedom more." I didn't realize until that moment how much I'd been waiting for someone, anyone, to see me, to see us. And in that small kitchen, with my daughter sleeping down the hall and snow tapping at the windows, I knew the truth. Tonight wasn't revenge, it was revelation. They finally saw who held the real power. And tomorrow, the fallout would be even bigger. I woke up the next morning to quiet. No buzzing phone, no angry messages, no guilt-tripping voicemails. Just silence. For a moment, I thought maybe the storm had passed. But then my phone lit up with 32 new messages all at once. Not from my parents this time, from relatives, family friends, people who attended the party. I scrolled through them slowly. Lauren, what happened last night? Your parents are losing it. Your sister left crying, your mum fainted. Is it true they kicked you and your daughter out? We didn't know they treated you like that. So the truth was spreading. Finally. My daughter walked into the living room rubbing her eyes. Mommy, are we going back there today? I shook my head. No, sweetheart. We're not going anywhere they don't value you. She nodded, but I could tell she was bracing for disappointment. That old instinct children of toxic families develop too early. I lifted her onto my lap. There are people in this world who will love you loudly, openly, and without conditions, I said, and you'll never have to prove yourself to them. Like you, she whispered. Exactly like me. She wrapped her arms around my neck and finally smiled, a small one, but real. While she ate breakfast, my doorbell rang. My aunt again. She stepped inside and closed the door behind her. They're blaming each other now, she said. Your mother told everyone you sabotaged Christmas out of jealousy. Your father is furious because people started leaving early. And your sister, well, she's the one who told everyone the truth. I raised my eyebrows. Really? My aunt nodded. She said she felt sick watching how they treated your daughter. She admitted it wasn't the first time. For a moment, I just absorbed that. Sometimes people crack in the right direction. Then, my aunt continued, your mother tried to shame her for speaking up. Your sister snapped and told the whole room about the way you've been paying for things for years. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. It wasn't vindication. It wasn't revenge. It was relief. The truth finally had witnesses. My aunt touched my arm gently. They're going to reach out, she said. They're going to beg. They're going to ask you to fix things. But Lauren, she held my gaze. Don't go back. Not until they learn what love actually feels like. I nodded slowly. I won't. And I meant it. Later that afternoon, my phone finally rang again. My father. I didn't answer, then my mother, voicemail, then my brother. But not a single one said, we're sorry. We were wrong. We shouldn't have hurt your daughter. All the messages were the same familiar tune. Fix this. Come back. Undo what you did. We need you. But I wasn't the family's safety net anymore. I walked into my daughter's room and found her drawing. She had sketched our house, the two of us, and a Christmas tree beside us. No grandparents, no cousins, no one missing. Just us. Do you want to decorate our own tree today? I asked. Her eyes lit up, the brightest I'd seen them in days. Really? Really? We spent the rest of the day baking cookies, hanging ornaments, and laughing so much I nearly forgot the night before. And that evening, when I turned off my phone, I felt something settle deep in my chest. Peace. My family hadn't lost Christmas last night. They'd lost access. They'd lost control. They'd lost the version of me who used to bend until I broke. But I didn't lose anything. I gained clarity. I gained space. I gained a Christmas that finally felt like mine. And as I watched my daughter fall asleep under the glow of our tiny tree, I realized something simple and powerful. Sometimes walking away isn't revenge, it's healing. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is a life without the people who tried to convince you that you didn't deserve one. What do you think about the way everything ended? Should Lauren have forgiven her family, or was walking away the only right choice? And if you were in her place, would you have cancelled everything too, or handled it differently? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy stories where people finally stand up for themselves and protect the ones they love, Make sure you subscribe before you go. New stories are coming every day, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next.